Okay, so now we're going to continue on with the Apple 2012 case. There are four central issues that you really wanted to focus on in this particular case, and you'll see very much central is the notion of formulating strategy. So, for example, the primary objective is to introduce industry analysis, which is the five forces, competitive positioning, which is considered to be what is strategy, and sustainability analysis. The question of, is Apple's position over time sustainable, or is it subject to some outside threats which might undermine its position? So the evolution of industry structure over time and its implications for strategic positioning. Again, the five forces, the nature of sustainable competitive advantage, what is strategy, the timing of strategic moves. You want to think about when it is beneficial to undertake strategic moves versus other ones. And for example, Jobs undertook a few very, very crucially timed strategic moves. For instance, having moved into the entertainment market with the iPod and accompanying iTunes, that was timed geniusly in light of a gap in the marketplace and specifically in the industry structure. As well as the challenge of reinvigorating competitive advantage through innovation. As you know, Apple Computer was did very well as a company and then slipped for a fairly substantial period, and then was, quote, resurrected when Jobs came back aboard 7 years into his tenure again when he was rehired. So the question is, excuse me, how can companies reinvigorate themselves? Now, in terms of, I found this lovely picture for us, the cover of The Economist, the book of Jobs, Hope, Hype, and Apple's iPad. This was from, I want to say a few years ago. I can't remember. I can't see the date on there very easily. It looks like it might be 2010. But this shows exactly how elevated Steve Jobs became during his tenure at Apple, and arguably rightfully so. As you know, Apple is considered one of the world's most admired companies. And so, for example, Fortune for several years named it as the world's most admired company. It has absolutely done extraordinarily well in recent years, particularly since 2004. Its stock has outperformed the S&P 500 over a number of years. And it's no longer a computer company. For a long time it was Apple Computer. Now it's Apple Inc. and has four primary markets: the personal computers, digital music / entertainment, smartphones, and tablets. So, we're left at the end of the case with, okay, well, given the tragic death of Jobs, can Tim Cook and Apple Inc. Move forward sustainably with their products? So the first question that we asked ourselves was, what historically have been Apple's competitive advantages? And again, this is where I'm sad that you're not here to work with me on this. But let me start. I'll show you a picture as an opening. The glam, the sleek industrial design of Apple. One of its competitive attributes is its industrial design. If you look at these products, they're just beautiful. The chassis, the monitor, Apple, the mouse is very glamorous. I know that probably most of you in the class have at least one Apple product. And even think about the packaging. I can remember when I got my MacBook Pro thinking that the packaging even was beautiful. So one of the things that's key, has been key, is its industrial design. We'll say clever, innovative, appealing, chassis, and packaging. That would be one. It's very easy to use. Ease of use. So it's graphical interface is user-friendly, as are its, quote, plug-and-play peripherals. Play peripherals. Okay. Also, if you think about it, historically, its proprietary environments have served it well, and in particular, environments, its operating system has served as something unique, because remember that everybody else is pretty much on open standards at this point, but Apple has not. Buyer loyalty has been critical to the company's success. People love their Apples, including myself, even though I sadly don't have my MacBook Pro anymore. It's got a very, very strong brand. And things like economies of scale. So if you remember, Apple is one of the world's largest purchasers of flash memory. Largest purchasers of flash memory. And buying in, arguably, we'll say bulk, flash memory bulk, allows it to garner some cost advantages. So the cost is lowered because they're buying on such a grand scale. In addition, is this notion of economies of scope. So as an example, let's say through Apple stores. So there's an ability to cross-sell iPhones, iPads, etc. We'll put etc. through. Yeah, okay, I already have that on there. So let me go back and just highlight again the notion of where do I have this? Yeah, this notion of economies, because these are two economic terms of which you should be aware. So the notion of economies of scale is the lowering of costs per unit that result from producing more, in spreading fixed costs across more units produced. That's one way to look at it. The one that I mentioned is the idea of buying in bulk can help you. Buying more allows you lower costs. But the idea is also that generally, by buying so much of something and producing so many units, you can apply or spread that cost across more particular units. Again, just an economics term for you. Economies of scope has to do with lowering of average product costs or other benefits that result from producing two or more products. For example, being able to spread your advertising, distribution, and sales costs across more products. So think about an example, this example, salespeople can benefit from having two or more products that they're trying to sell on a trip as opposed to one, because they're right there, they can sell more products and then garner more revenues that they can spread the cost of traveling across. Let me check our time here. Okay, we're actually fine on time. Okay, and there are a few other things that have also been beneficial for them. The dominance historically in desktop publishing. That has been an advantage for them, as well as education. And here is the last thing that I think a lot of people tend to miss that's very, very important to their success, is the ecosystem of complements that they have in various products. So the apps, the music, videos, etc., that enhance the value of purchasing an Apple product. So I again created another slide here for us. Let me see where I put that. Yeah, this notion of complementary products and services, and this comes directly from the five forces. Complements are products and services used together with an industry's products. Complements arise when the customer benefit of two products combined is greater than the sum of each product's value in isolation. And so you think about the notion of hardware and software, according to Porter's article, in isolation, not so beneficial to have, but in conjunction with each other, they both elevate the value of having a computer. So you think about, in this case, what having so many apps available for the iPhone. So as one example, the iPad has on the value or the demand for an iPad or an iPhone because both have a large number of apps available. Think about iTunes as an ecosystem around the iPod in terms of iTunes appeal as a product. Because it is so attractive, it elevates the value of having an iPod. Okay, so with that said, those are generally the primary competitive advantages. Now we can go into an industry analysis here. And I've tried to be organized for us to help. Let's start with I want to go to the buyers. Okay, so this is the second piece of your, the homework was to analyze the personal computer industry and assess are the dynamics favorable or problematic for Apple currently. And so this is a question that's very amenable to the Five Forces article, or Five Forces framework, because remember, the extent to which the forces are strong would arguably limit the profit that the industry can actually accrue. So is it an attractive business to be in or not? So we'll just start with how powerful are the buyers right now. And so let's start with large corporations, okay, as one example. And who buys? Okay, generally IT or purchasing would buy. In what volumes? What volumes? We'll say most companies replace their PCs every, say, 3 to 4 years, and such that a big company can buy as many as 100K or PCs, 100,000 PCs a year. So think about this. They're buying a lot. When you think about your ability to lower your costs, for example, and get other benefits, if you're going to buy a lot, it's bulk purchasing. That's what we're looking at here. And how sophisticated are our buyers? They are. The buyers are knowledgeable. Buyers are knowledgeable about PCs and accompanying technology. Okay, and how important is, say, service and support? It still matters. Service and support matter, but they're not that willing to pay for it. Okay, and what drives the purchase decision? Is it the brand or the price for large corporations? Just think about that for a second. Would they buy on the basis of brand or price? Usually price. It's a price-driven decision. Let me check our time again here. Okay, I'm going to go on to our next video because I'm running out of time here.